Been with Sophia for 8 years, married for 6. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but I thought we were solid. I restore classic cars. My own business, built from nothing. Reddit exposed hub fans, you know I pour my heart into those machines. Sophia's been working in real estate for the past 3 years. My brother Leonard runs a performance parts distribution company. We've always had a competitive relationship, but nothing crazy toxic. Last month, I noticed Sophia acting weird with her phone, angling it away, taking calls outside, the usual suspect stuff. At first, I thought maybe she was planning some surprise or whatever, but then she started making comments about my spending habits and asking questions about our finances she never cared about before. So, Sunday, I'm outside changing the oil on my charger, regular maintenance, every 3K miles, religiously. Our kitchen window was wide open because Sophia always complains about cooking smells. Her mom, Gladys, was over for their weekly planning session, which usually means drinking wine and talking trash about everyone they know. I'm under the car, draining the oil, when I hear Gladys ask in this smug voice, "How's Operation Brother going?" It made me pause. I've always gotten weird vibes from Gladys. She's treated me like I'm beneath them since day one because her ex-husband had money and I work with my hands. Sophia giggles, and says Leonard is eating out of her hand, then drops the bomb. He thinks I'm leaving Harrison for him. Can you believe it? My blood went cold. I almost hit my head on the oil pan. Gladys asks if she means brother trainer, and Sophia confirms they've been flirting for months. Then she says the most chilling thing. Leonard's been giving her all my secrets, where I keep emergency cash, passwords, everything. I'm lying there in a puddle of motor oil, trying not to make a sound, while they keep talking. Gladys asks if Leonard actually believes Sophia loves him. Sophia calls him a fool who believes anything and says he's already promised to testify about how I abused her, making up childhood stories to back her claims. Then they discuss her exit strategy, and I realize this is a heist movie playing out in my own life. Reddit exposed hub. Sophia tells her mom that Leonard thinks they're running away together after the divorce, but her real plan is to take everything and disappear from both of us. The worst part? Sophia laughs and says the best part is I begged Leonard to look after her during our break. Sent the wolf to guard the sheep. They both cackled like witches. I finished draining that oil and had this weird moment of clarity. Leonard and I have our issues, but we're still brothers. And no matter what, we don't let outsiders mess with family. That's always been our code, even when we fought as kids. I cleaned up, acted normal through dinner, then told Sophia I needed to go pick up a part from a guy. Instead, I drove straight to Leonard's place. Didn't call first because I needed to see his genuine reaction. When I told him what I heard, he went white, then red. Then he grabbed a bottle of whiskey and poured us both a glass. Turns out, Sophia had been coming on to him for months, playing the "your brother doesn't understand me" card. He admitted he was flattered at first but got suspicious when she started asking weird, specific questions about my finances and childhood. He showed me texts where she'd ask leading questions like, "Harrison told me about that time your dad locked you guys in the garage. Was it really for 2 days? Never happened. Did Harrison really steal your college fund?" We didn't even have college funds. Leonard had been playing along to figure out what the hell she was doing. He just hadn't told me because he was embarrassed and didn't have proof of her endgame yet. We stayed up until 3 a.m., plotting our counter-operation. Reddit exposed hub. Leonard would keep playing the lovesick fool, feeding her fake information while documenting everything. I'd act clueless but start moving my actual important stuff to safety. 2 days later, Leonard comes over for dinner. Sophia invited him, and I catch them in the kitchen, her hand on his arm, jumping away when I walk in. The Oscar-worthy performance of concern on her face would be hilarious if it wasn't so infuriating. I pretended not to notice, but later that night, accidentally left my phone unlocked with fake texts to my buddy Thomas about how I was worried about my marriage and thinking of putting aside cash just in case. Over the next 2 weeks, Leonard recorded every conversation with Sophia. She told him I was emotionally abusive, controlling with money, I literally never questioned her spending, and that she was afraid of me. The woman who regularly gets in my face during arguments and once threw a plate at the wall. Meanwhile, I noticed money starting to disappear from our joint account in small amounts, not enough to raise immediate alarms, but a pattern. When I casually mentioned it, Sophia suggested our account had been hacked and offered to change all our passwords for me because she had time while I was at the shop. I gave her fake passwords to dummy accounts I'd set up. Within hours, there were login attempts on my real accounts. The turning point came when Leonard accidentally let slip to Sophia that I had a separate business account she didn't know about. I don't. He told her I keep all the real business profits there to hide money from her. She was practically salivating and immediately started planning how they could access it. Yesterday, Leonard told Sophia I asked him to take her out for dinner to talk about our marriage problems because I was too much of a coward. Instead, they're going to a restaurant where my buddy Isaac works as a manager. The entire conversation will be recorded. She thinks tonight is her chance to manipulate more information out of Leonard. What she doesn't know is that we've got everything documented, every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to access accounts. She has no idea that the wolf she sent to guard the sheep is actually guarding the sheep from her Reddit exposed hub. I'm sitting in my garage right now, looking at printed copies of everything we've collected, every text where she trash talks me to my own brother, every recorded conversation planning how to clean me out, every fake abuse story she's crafted. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with a lawyer. The day after, Sophia is going to get the surprise of her life, and her mother's going to learn you don't mess with someone who spent his life fixing broken things. I've diagnosed the problem, and I'm about to remove the faulty parts from my life permanently. Update 1. First, thanks for all the advice on my last post, Reddit exposed hub. To recap, caught my wife and her mom planning to clean me out financially, using my brother as a pawn. But my brother was already suspicious, and now we're working together to gather evidence. The dinner at the restaurant went even better than expected. My buddy Isaac set them up at a corner table with a small recording device hidden under a decorative centerpiece, totally legal in our state since it's a public place. Leonard played his part perfectly, asking leading questions while Sophia dug her own grave deeper. The recording is gold. She straight up tells Leonard she's planning to file for divorce based on emotional abuse and financial control, says I'm unstable, and she fears for her safety. Then she outlined exactly how she wants to drain our accounts, max out credit cards in my name, and get everything she can before disappearing. Her exact words, "When I'm done with Harrison, he'll be living in that shitbox Charger he loves so much. Living at home knowing what I know has been like driving with no brakes, terrifying, but I can't show it. Every morning, I kiss her goodbye like normal. Every night, I eat dinner across from her and listen to her talk about her day, knowing she spent it plotting to destroy me. My jaw hurts from clenching it so much. Leonard's been feeding her perfect misinformation, told her I've been hiding assets by buying rare car parts through the shop and storing them at a buddy's garage. Don't actually have parts stashed anywhere, but she's convinced there's $50,000 worth of inventory she's entitled to. He also told her my email password is a variation of my childhood dog's name, so she's been trying every combination of Rusty plus numbers she can think of. Meanwhile, my actual accounts are locked down with randomly generated passwords she'd never guess. 3 days after the restaurant, accidentally left my laptop open with fake emails to a non-existent bank account showing large transfers. She definitely saw it. I came back to the room, and she jumped away from my desk, knocking over a cup of coffee. She cleaned it up while apologizing way too much. That night, I heard her on the phone with her mom, talking about the jackpot in hushed tones. Yesterday, things escalated. I checked our joint account and found another $2,000 missing. When I brought it up, Sophia got defensive immediately, claiming she needed to help her cousin with rent. I've never even heard of this cousin before. When I pointed this out, she flew into a rage, screaming that I'm monitoring her spending and trying to control her. Then she slammed the bedroom door so hard a picture fell off the wall. That night, I pretended to fall asleep on the couch. Through the reflection in the TV screen, I watched her grab my phone and try to unlock it. She tried at least 15 different combinations before giving up and putting it back exactly where it was. The new pin I set is my brother's birthday, something she'd never think to try because she doesn't even know when his birthday is. That's how little she cares about my family. Just when I thought things couldn't get more complicated, my parents decided to make a surprise visit. They live 3 hours away and rarely come to our place, but my dad had a doctor's appointment in the city for his heart condition. As soon as they arrived, I could see Sophia switch into perfect daughter-in-law mode. She hugged my mom extra tight, asked about Dad's health with this concerned face, and even made his favorite coffee without being asked. My mom ate it up. She's always wanted me to settle down with a nice girl and has been blind to Sophia's true nature from day one. During lunch, Sophia casually brought up how worried she is about me, told my parents I've been distant and secretive lately, even mentioned finding concerning texts on my phone that made her think I might be having some kind of breakdown. My dad looked at me with real concern, and it took everything in me not to flip the table. Instead, I excused myself to the bathroom and texted Leonard, "She's working my parents now. Time to move faster." He replied immediately with, "Got it. Operation Takedown starts tonight." That evening, after my parents left, Sophia dropped the bomb. She thinks we need a trial separation, says she needs space to figure out what she wants, claims she's concerned about my mental state and thinks time apart would be good for both of us. I almost laughed in her face. Instead, I agreed way too quickly, which clearly threw her off. She was expecting a fight, wanted me to beg her to stay so she could use it as evidence of my instability later. The look on her face when I calmly said, "Yeah, that's probably best," was priceless. She recovered quickly, though, suggesting she could stay with her friend Michaela while we work through things. I know for a fact she's planning to stay with Leonard, who's offered her his guest room as part of our plan. The apartment actually belongs to my friend Thomas, who's renting it to Leonard temporarily just for this purpose. Every inch of that place is wired for sound. This morning, Sophia packed a suitcase while I was in the shower. I noticed she took the small lockbox from the closet, the one I intentionally left unlocked with fake documents inside, including a life insurance policy she doesn't know is canceled and printouts of bank statements from those dummy accounts. When she left, she gave me this sad, manipulative hug and said, "We'll figure it all out soon." The performance deserved an Oscar. Reddit exposed hub. As soon as her car left the driveway, I called my lawyer. We're filing emergency orders to freeze the remaining joint accounts based on the evidence of her transferring money without explanation. Leonard texted that she arrived at his apartment and is already making herself comfortable. Tonight, I'm meeting with a forensic accountant who specializes in divorce cases. Tomorrow, I'm changing the locks on the house. The day after, I'm filing for divorce on grounds of adultery and financial fraud with a stack of evidence that would make an FBI agent jealous. Everything was going exactly according to plan until about an hour ago. Sophia called me, her voice different, harder, more cautious. She asked if I'd spoken to Leonard recently, said he was acting weird and asking strange questions. Then she asked if I'd changed our banking passwords. I played dumb, but I could hear the suspicion in her voice. For the first time since this all started, I'm wondering if she's starting to realize she's not as clever as she thinks. Got to go. Leonard just texted that she's trying to access my email again from his laptop. Time to spring another trap. Quick update because things are moving fast. Reddit exposed hub. It's been 5 days since Sophia moved into the apartment she thinks belongs to Leonard. My brother deserves a medal for keeping up this charade. He's had to listen to her talk trash about me for hours while pretending to be on her side. The first night she was there, Leonard accidentally left his laptop open when he went to take a shower. Sophia immediately went through his browser history. We made sure there were searches for how to protect assets in divorce and transferring property to siblings in his email. She spent 45 minutes snooping before he came back. The hidden camera in the living room caught her taking pictures of his screen with her phone. That night, she called her mom, and they talked for an hour about what she found. We have it all on tape. Gladys suggested Sophia should push Leonard to get me to sign over part of my business for safekeeping during our separation. Their exact plan is to get as much in writing as possible before filing for divorce. Leonard's been feeding her exactly what we want her to believe, told her I've been a mess without her, drinking, missing work, calling him crying at night. In reality, I've never been more clear-headed. The shop is running better than ever, and I've been working with my lawyer every day to document everything. 2 days ago, Sophia called me at 11 at night. She sounded concerned, asking if I was okay and if I'd been drinking. I put on my best sad husband voice and told her I missed her so much I couldn't function. Then I let slip that I'd been thinking about our future and had something important to tell her about my finances. Mention my uncle who passed away last year left me some money I never told her about. This uncle doesn't exist. She took the bait immediately, started asking questions about how much and where it was kept. I told her I didn't want to talk about it over the phone but that it was enough to change our lives. Then I pretended to get emotional and hung up. 10 minutes later, Leonard texted me that Sophia was practically dancing around the apartment, calling Gladys to tell her about this secret inheritance. They made plans to meet for lunch the next day to discuss how to get access to it. Here's where things get good, Reddit exposed hub. We set up a fake bank statement showing $100,000 in an account at a local credit union. Leonard accidentally left it on the kitchen counter when he went to work. The camera caught Sophia finding it, taking pictures, and then carefully putting it back exactly where it was. That afternoon, Sophia went to the credit union. We know this because Leonard put a location tracker on her car. She's using his spare car while staying with him. She spent 45 minutes there, probably trying to figure out how to access the account. What she doesn't know is I warned the bank's fraud department that someone might try to impersonate me. They have her on their security cameras now. Yesterday, my parents called. My mom was in tears, saying Sophia had reached out to her, concerned about my drinking problem and erratic behavior. Said I might need an intervention. This was a new low, even for Sophia, trying to turn my parents against me. I had to tell them some of what was going on. Not everything, just enough that they understood Sophia was manipulating them. My dad was pissed. He wanted to drive over immediately and confront her, but I talked him down. Told him we needed to stick to the plan. Meanwhile, the forensic accountant found evidence that Sophia has been siphoning money from our joint accounts for over a year, small amounts at first, but increasing in the past few months, nearly $20,000 total. That money was supposed to be for renovating our kitchen. Instead, it's in an account under her mother's name. Last night, I had my staged breakdown call with Leonard, making sure to call when I knew Sophia would be there. Cried about how I couldn't live without her, how I'd do anything to get her back, how I was thinking of just signing everything over to her if that's what she wanted. Leonard kept me on speaker the whole time. The recording of Sophia's reactions in the background is priceless. She's literally giving him thumbs up and doing little victory dances while I'm fake sobbing. After the call, she told Leonard they should celebrate, suggested they go to this fancy restaurant downtown tonight, the same one where they had their first dinner. Leonard agreed and mentioned I'd given him access to my emergency credit card for expenses during our separation, told her to order whatever she wanted on me. What she doesn't know is my lawyer will be at the next table. The restaurant manager, who's done work for me in the past, I restored his vintage Mustang, has agreed to set up another recording device. We're going to capture every word of her gloating over winning. This morning, Sophia texted, asking if we could meet tomorrow to talk about our future. Says she's been doing a lot of thinking and misses me. The timing is suspicious as hell, right after she learned about the fake inheritance. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop near her work. Meanwhile, Leonard is playing his part perfectly. He told Sophia he's been looking into how we could transfer my business into his name temporarily to protect it during the divorce. He even printed out fake paperwork that looks like business transfer documents, which he left on the kitchen table. The camera caught her taking pictures of it while he was in the bathroom. Just got a text from Leonard that Sophia has been on the phone with Gladys for the last hour, planning what to wear to our reunion tomorrow. Gladys told her to look sad but hopeful, and to cry at exactly the right moment to manipulate me. They even practiced what she should say to get me to agree to her terms. The kicker? Sophia told Gladys that after she gets everything, she's planning to move to her mom's beach house in Florida, not with Leonard. She told her mom he's served his purpose, and she's going to ghost him once the divorce is finalized. They're both laughing about how stupid we both are. Leonard's taking her to the restaurant in an hour. He's wearing a wire, and my lawyer has a private room reserved next door where we'll be listening to everything. Tomorrow at the coffee shop, I'm bringing divorce papers and copies of all the evidence we've collected. Sophia thinks she's about to cash in on 6 years of marriage. What she doesn't know is that she's about to lose everything: her reputation, her credibility, and any chance of getting a penny from me in the divorce. One thing I've learned from restoring classic cars, Reddit exposed hub: sometimes you have to strip something down to its frame to see how badly damaged it is. My marriage is beyond repair, but at least I can salvage my dignity and my finances. Just got another text from Leonard. Sophia is getting ready for dinner, and Gladys is coming to join them. They think tonight is their victory celebration. They have no idea it's actually the beginning of the end. I'm heading to the restaurant now. Next time I update, this will all be over. Sorry for the delay in updating, Reddit exposed hub. The past week has been a whirlwind. For those just joining, I caught my wife and her mom planning to financially destroy me, using my brother as an unwitting pawn, except my brother was actually working with me the whole time to gather evidence. So, that dinner at the restaurant? I was in the back room with my lawyer, watching the live feed from Leonard's wire and the hidden cameras. Sophia, Gladys, and Leonard were halfway through appetizers, all smiles and champagne, thinking they were celebrating their victory while Leonard was secretly recording everything. Sophia was bragging about how easy it was going to be to get me to sign over everything tomorrow at our reconciliation coffee date, said I was so desperate to get her back that I'd agree to anything. Gladys was practically giddy, talking about how they could transfer the money to offshore accounts I wouldn't be able to touch. Then Sophia said something that made my blood boil. She'd always seen me as a stepping stone to the lifestyle she actually wanted, said marrying me was settling, because she thought I had potential, but now she had outgrown me. That's when I decided to walk in instead of waiting. My lawyer tried to talk me out of it, but sometimes you gotta trust your gut over the blueprint, Reddit exposed hub. The look on Sophia's face when I walked up to their table, I wish I could have framed it. She went from laughing to this weird frozen smile. Leonard just gave me a nod and slid over so I could sit down. I didn't yell or make a scene, just sat down and asked if I could join their celebration. Sophia immediately started some nonsense about how they were just having a friendly dinner, missing me so much, blah blah. I let her ramble for like 2 full minutes, digging herself deeper with every word. Then I pulled out my phone, connected to the Bluetooth speaker Leonard had in his pocket, and played a clip from their kitchen conversation, the one where Sophia tells her mom that Leonard's served his purpose, and she's going to ghost him after getting everything from me, the one where they laugh about how stupid we both are. Sophia's face went from fake concerned to ghost white in seconds. She grabbed for my phone, but I pulled it back. Then she turned on Leonard, accusing him of setting her up, saying he was recording her illegally. Gladys started gathering her things, saying this was harassment and she was going to call the police. That's when my lawyer walked in with his paralegal. He introduced himself, explained that everything was recorded legally in our state since Leonard was a participant in the conversation, and laid out a folder of evidence on the table. The blood literally drained from Gladys's face when she saw the stack of papers. Sophia tried one last desperate move, started crying, saying Leonard had been pursuing her, that she was afraid of me, that this was all a misunderstanding. I just pulled out the transcript from the day I overheard them through the kitchen window, read it word for word, and asked her to explain what Operation Brother meant, if not exactly what we'd caught her doing. Gladys grabbed her phone and started frantically deleting texts. My lawyer informed her that we already had copies of everything and destroying evidence could be considered obstruction. She put the phone down like it was on fire. The restaurant manager came over, concerned about the situation. I apologized for the disruption and said we were just leaving. As we stood up, Sophia grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin, hissing that I would regret this. I just looked at her and said she should have remembered that my brother and I have always stuck together when it counted, despite our differences. Leonard added that family doesn't mean what she thinks it means. It's not just something you use and discard when convenient. We left them sitting there with the bill, which Leonard had specifically run up with expensive champagne and appetizers. My lawyer served Sophia with divorce papers on the way out. The next morning, Sophia showed up at our house. I'd changed the locks, but she didn't know that yet. Found her sitting on the porch when I got back from grabbing coffee. She'd done a complete 180, all tearful apologies, claiming her mom had pushed her into it, that she really did love me, that we could work it out. I just stood there with my coffee while she performed. When she finally ran out of steam, I told her she should read the divorce papers carefully, explained that they included evidence of her attempting to defraud me, recordings of her admitting to planning financial crimes, and proof she'd been siphoning money for over a year. Said she had two options: contest it, and I'd pursue criminal charges, or sign and walk away with nothing but her personal belongings and the clothes on her back. She lost it, started screaming that I couldn't do this to her, that she'd given me 6 years of her life, that she deserved half of everything. Our neighbor Thomas came outside to check what was happening, and Sophia immediately switched to playing the victim, saying I was threatening her. Thomas, who'd known about the situation from the beginning, he owns the apartment Leonard pretended was his, just shook his head and went back inside. Sophia tried her key in the door, then started pounding when it didn't work. I called the police, not to have her arrested, just to have her removed from my property. When they arrived, she tried telling them I was abusive and had locked her out of her own home. I calmly showed the officer the divorce papers and evidence of her fraud. They escorted her off the property and advised her to contact her own lawyer. The next day, my parents drove up. They'd been worried after my mom's conversation with Sophia about my supposed drinking problem. I showed them everything, the recordings, the evidence, all of it. My dad, who's always been stoic, actually had tears in his eyes, not from sadness, but from rage. He couldn't believe someone would try to do this to his son. My mom was devastated. She genuinely liked Sophia and felt betrayed herself. While they were there, Sophia's stuff got delivered. I'd hired a service to pack up her clothes and personal items and drop them at Leonard's apartment, where she was still staying, awkwardly enough. She tried to claim I was keeping things that were hers, but I'd had the movers take photos of everything to prove nothing was missing. Our friend group imploded when people started finding out. Most took my side once they heard the evidence, but a couple of Sophia's close friends tried to spin it like I was the villain. One night at a bar, her friend Michaela confronted me, saying I'd ruined Sophia's life over a misunderstanding. I pulled out my phone, played one of the recordings, and watched her face go from righteous anger to shocked disbelief. She hasn't spoken to Sophia since. 2 days ago, I got a call from Gladys. She tried to play peacemaker, saying we should work this out privately, that dragging everything into the open would only hurt everyone involved. Translation: she was worried about her own reputation. I told her the only private settlement I'd accept would require Sophia to return every penny she'd taken from our accounts, sign the divorce papers as written, and never contact me again. Gladys huffed that I was being unreasonable and hung up. Yesterday, my lawyer called. Sophia has finally hired her own attorney, who, after reviewing our evidence, has advised her to settle. She's agreeing to all terms, including returning the $20,000 she siphoned off, which Gladys is apparently helping her pay back to avoid potential criminal charges for her part in the scheme. The most satisfying part of all this, Reddit exposed hub? Leonard got a text from Sophia last night, trying one final manipulation. She claimed she really had fallen for him during all this, that her feelings for him were real, even if she'd been planning to use me. Asked if they could start over, just the two of them. Leonard sent her a voice message in response, laughing for a solid 30 seconds before saying, "Nice try," and blocking her number. It's been a month since I overheard that conversation through the kitchen window. In that time, my entire life has been turned upside down. The woman I thought I'd grow old with turned out to be planning my financial destruction with her mother. My brother, who I've always had a complicated relationship with, proved to be the most loyal person in my life. I'm not going to pretend I'm totally fine. Some nights, I still wake up angry, thinking about those 6 years and wondering if any of it was real. But then I remember something my dad taught us about restoring cars. Sometimes the most damaged ones, the ones that seem beyond saving, are hiding the strongest frames underneath all that rust. The divorce will be final in a few months. Sophia is moving back in with Gladys, her tail between her legs. I'm keeping the house, my business, and my dignity. Leonard and I are actually closer than we've been since we were kids. We're talking about possibly going into business together, combining my restoration skills with his parts distribution. As for me, I'm taking the engine apart, examining every component, and deciding what to keep and what to replace. Some parts of my life need work, but the frame is solid. And unlike the car my father and I rebuilt when I was 16, I'm not trying to restore this life to factory condition. I'm building something better, stronger, and completely custom. Reddit exposed hub.